Imagine having a guidebook you can open during life's toughest moments. When you feel overwhelmed, when relationships hurt, when you can't stand being with yourself, or when your emotions seem impossible to handle. That's exactly what Dr. Julie Smith offers in her book Open When. This isn't just advice for the good days. It's a comforting voice for the stormy ones. Today, we're diving deep into Open When, covering every chapter to help you discover how to navigate struggles with people, with yourself, and with your feelings. Let's open the first envelope together. Part 1. When it's hard to be with other people. Chapter 1. When you compare yourself and come up short. Comparison is deeply human, but it's also deeply tricky. Dr. Smith explains that when you compare yourself to others and feel inferior, you're not flawed. You're misusing comparison. She describes how comparisons can spiral into self-loathing, particularly when fueled by social media or when directed at people close to you. These comparisons often focus on others' highlight reels while ignoring their struggles. To break free, she recommends shifting your perspective. Instead of letting envy fester, turn it into curiosity. Ask yourself, what specifically do I admire about this person? What I learn? Then use those answers to guide your own growth. She also reminds us that self-worth isn't negotiable. It doesn't depend on being better than others. Keep comparison specific and skill-focused, not global. And when resentment creeps in, ground yourself in gratitude, noticing what you already have and comparing yourself to your past self instead of others. Chapter 2. When your friends are not your friends. Sometimes friendships that once felt good begin to feel toxic, and you find yourself drained, belittled, or excluded. Dr. Smith emphasizes that this discomfort is valuable information. If you feel you can't be yourself around someone, if you have to shrink, hide your happiness, or tiptoe around their ego, that's not a healthy friendship. She urges us to look at people's actions. When they meet your good news with contempt or your pain with dismissal, they reveal themselves. No one else can decide whether a friendship is worth keeping, but don't be afraid to step away from connections that hurt. True friends don't require you to compromise who you are. Importantly, she reminds us to also reflect on our own role in friendships. Are we showing up authentically? Are we being the kind of friend we hope to have? Chapter 3. When you want to be less awkward around people. Social awkwardness often comes from being too focused on yourself, worrying how you're coming across, and fearing rejection. That fear hijacks your attention and makes conversations feel like tests you can fail. Dr. Smith explains that the solution is to shift your focus outward. Instead of trying to impress, aim to make others feel welcome, valued, and understood. You'll inevitably encounter awkward moments, and that's okay. The goal isn't to avoid them, but to build confidence in navigating through them. Practice is key. The more you interact, the more your brain learns that these situations are safe. And remember, most people are too busy worrying about themselves to scrutinize you as much as you fear. So, look for connection, not perfection. Celebrate small wins, and stop punishing yourself with post-conversation rumination. Chapter 4. When you feel unwelcome and want to fit in. We all crave belonging, but too often we look for it in the wrong places. Dr. Smith warns against bending yourself out of shape just to be accepted. If belonging requires you to suppress your values, beliefs, or authenticity, ask yourself, do I really want to be part of this group? Instead of waiting for others to welcome you, take the lead, be the welcomer. Approach others with curiosity and openness, and focus on what you can give, not what you can get. Even in unfamiliar settings, finding common ground, however small, helps create connection and melt away that sense of alienation. Belonging isn't about fitting in at all costs. It's about finding or building spaces where you can be fully yourself. Chapter 5. When you keep saying yes, but you want to say no. Saying yes when you really want to say no erodes your self-respect and makes you vulnerable to exploitation. Many of us were taught that being nice means pleasing others at all times. But Dr. Smith reminds us that real goodness involves having the courage to uphold your own boundaries. She explains that the guilt of saying no often keeps us stuck. But over time, failing to stand up for yourself chips away at your sense of self. Every small self-betrayal builds on the last. Saying no doesn't make you selfish. It allows you to protect your energy and integrity. Learn to recognize the emotions that arise when you try to say no: fear, guilt, discomfort, and face them rather than give in. The more you practice, the easier it becomes to assert your needs calmly and clearly. Chapter 6. When you're dealing with passive-aggressive people. Passive-aggressive behavior, the silent treatment, backhanded comments, veiled hostility, can leave you feeling confused and frustrated. Dr. Smith suggests resisting the urge to play their game. Instead, stay grounded and address the behavior directly. Name what's happening without hostility and express what you need clearly. Refuse to get entangled in their tactics, and remember that their behavior says more about them than about you. Chapter 7. When your parents got it wrong. Our parents shape so much of who we become, but even the most well-meaning parents make mistakes. Dr. Smith reassures us that the mistakes of our parents are not a life sentence. If you grew up feeling unloved, criticized, or overlooked, it's okay to acknowledge the pain without staying stuck in it. You are allowed to rewrite the script of your life. You can take the lessons they couldn't teach you and create healthier patterns for yourself. Breaking generational cycles starts with awareness, compassion for yourself, and the courage to do things differently. Chapter 8. When you get it wrong as a parent. No parent is perfect, and you don't have to be. When you inevitably make mistakes, the best thing you can do is own them. Dr. Smith emphasizes that repairing after you mess up is more powerful than never messing up at all. Apologizing, showing your child that you are learning too, and modeling how to make amends teaches resilience and trust. Parenting is about showing up consistently, even imperfectly, and demonstrating that love doesn't require perfection. Chapter 9. When they don't love you back. Unrequited love is deeply painful, but it does not define your worth. When someone doesn't return your feelings, it can feel like a personal failure, but Dr. Smith reminds us it's not about being unworthy. It's about incompatibility. Grieve the loss, but don't let it erode your self-respect. Respect their choice, and remember that love isn't a transaction. It can't be forced or earned. The right person for you will love you without conditions or persuasion. Chapter 10. When they love you, but you won't let them get close. Sometimes love is offered to us, but our own fears and past hurts stop us from letting people in. This fear of intimacy might stem from old wounds, betrayal, abandonment, or rejection. Dr. Smith explains that healing starts with self-awareness. Communicate your fears, take small risks to open up, and let trust build slowly. Love requires vulnerability, and vulnerability takes practice. Chapter 11. When you want to win the argument. When emotions run high, it's easy to fall into the trap of wanting to win rather than understand. But winning often means losing the connection. Dr. Smith teaches us to pause and ask, what matters more, being right or preserving this relationship? Instead of escalating, focus on listening and expressing your feelings without blame. Arguments are opportunities to grow closer if handled with care and humility. Chapter 12. When it's hard to ask for help. Many of us believe asking for help is weakness, but nothing could be further from the truth. Dr. Smith encourages us to see asking for help as a strength, an acknowledgement of our humanity. You don't have to carry everything alone. Whether it's reaching out to a friend, a therapist, or even just expressing your struggle, taking that step is powerful. Everyone needs help sometimes, and giving others the chance to support you deepens your connections. Part 2. When it's hard to be with yourself. Chapter 13. When your inner voice is your own worst critic. That little voice in your head, the one that tells you you're not good enough, can feel relentless. Dr. Smith explains how this inner critic often echoes old doubts and fears. But just because it speaks doesn't mean it tells the truth. Start noticing what it says, challenge those statements, and replace them with more balanced, compassionate thoughts. You're not broken. You're learning, and you deserve kindness from yourself most of all. Chapter 14. When you doubt yourself and want to feel more confident. Confidence isn't something you're born with. It's something you build through action. Dr. Smith emphasizes starting small. Take on challenges, even when you're scared, and let experience prove to you that you're capable. Confidence grows with practice, not perfection. The more you show up, the more evidence you create that you can handle what comes. Chapter 15. When you feel overwhelmed. Life can feel like a tidal wave. Tasks, emotions, responsibilities crashing down all at once. When that happens, pause. Take a breath. Dr. Smith advises breaking everything down into tiny, manageable steps. Focus on the next right thing, not the entire mountain. Even small progress is progress, and it brings clarity and calm. Chapter 16. When you hate who you've become. We all make mistakes, but shame and self-loathing keep us stuck. Dr. Smith reminds us that the person you are today doesn't have to define your future. Start by acknowledging what you want to change, then take one step at a time toward the version of yourself you can be proud of. You're allowed to outgrow your past. Chapter 17. When you're scared of making the wrong choice. Many of us get paralyzed by fear of regret or failure. But Dr. Smith explains that no choice is perfect, and waiting for certainty will keep you stuck forever. Make the best decision you can with the information you have, and trust that you can adjust course if needed. Life is a series of choices and lessons, not a test with only one right answer. Chapter 18. When you're short on willpower. We all have limits. Willpower can't carry you through everything, but strategy can. Dr. Smith suggests setting up your environment to make good choices easier, building habits, and asking for support when needed. Remember, it's not about being perfect. It's about showing up and doing your best, even when it's hard. Chapter 19. When you must perform under pressure. Pressure is inevitable, but it doesn't have to crush you. Dr. Smith encourages us to reframe that nervous energy as excitement, to focus on what we can control, and to trust the preparation we've done. When you embrace the challenge instead of fearing it, you tap into strength you didn't know you had. Part 3. When it's hard to be with your feelings. Chapter 20. When you're overthinking everything. Overthinking traps you in a cycle of worry and doubt, making problems feel bigger and solutions feel farther away. Dr. Smith explains that overthinking is your brain's attempt to protect you, but it ends up paralyzing you instead. The key is to notice when you're stuck in your head and redirect your focus to the present. Ground yourself with simple actions, like feeling your feet on the floor or naming what you can see around you. When your mind spirals into what-ifs, remind yourself to take just one small step forward. Chapter 21. When fear shows up. Fear is an inevitable part of growth. It's a signal, not a stop sign. Dr. Smith urges us to stop seeing fear as something to avoid and start seeing it as a sign that you're stepping into new territory. Instead of trying to eliminate fear, practice moving forward despite it. Start with small challenges, build your tolerance, and let courage grow from action. You can feel fear and still choose to act. Chapter 22. When grief overwhelms you. Grief comes in waves, sometimes gentle, sometimes crashing. It's not something you get over. It's something you move through. Dr. Smith reminds us that grief is the price we pay for love, and it's okay to let yourself feel it fully. Allow yourself to cry, to talk, to remember. Seek support when needed, and give yourself permission to grieve at your own pace. Healing doesn't mean forgetting. It means learning to carry the love and the loss together. Chapter 23. When everything feels pointless. At times, life can feel meaningless, and motivation can vanish. When this happens, Dr. Smith suggests reconnecting with your core values. Ask yourself, what kind of person do I want to be? What small actions can I take today to move toward that? Even when meaning feels absent, purposeful action can help you rediscover it. Begin with the smallest of steps, even washing a dish or taking a walk, and let momentum build. Chapter 24. When you feel like an imposter. Imposter syndrome makes you feel like a fraud, like you don't deserve your achievements. But as Dr. Smith explains, feelings aren't facts. Recognize that doubt is common, especially when you're growing and challenging yourself. Instead of letting doubt hold you back, let it remind you that you're stretching beyond your comfort zone. Focus on progress over perfection and keep showing up, even when it feels uncomfortable. Chapter 25. When you have done something you regret. Regret can weigh heavily on your heart, but it doesn't have to define you. Dr. Smith teaches that the way forward is through accountability and self-compassion. If you can make amends, do so sincerely. Learn from the experience, then let it guide you toward better choices rather than trap you in shame. Everyone makes mistakes. What matters is what you choose to do next. Chapter 26. When anger erupts too often. Frequent anger can feel like a storm you can't control, but often it masks deeper emotions like hurt or fear. Dr. Smith recommends pausing before you react. Breathe, step away if you need to, and ask yourself what's really going on underneath the anger. Understanding the root helps you respond more effectively. Over time, you can learn to express what you feel without letting anger take over. Life throws storms at all of us, but open one reminds us that even in the darkest moments, there are ways forward through connection, self-compassion, and resilience. You don't have to have all the answers, and you don't have to walk the path alone. If this summary helped you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with someone who might need it today. And remember, you are stronger than you think, and better days are ahead. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.